Hey guys, XJ here. So today on Surviving the First Lap, we're going to talk about the brake bias. Now this is the last part of our 4-part series, Advanced Settings for Fixed Setups. So let's get started. Brake bias. Now, this is the adjustment of the relative amount of hydraulic pressure applied to the front versus the rear brake calipers and pads. Now, it's not that you really need to know that, but it's used to optimize the braking power. As a car decelerates, load transfers to the front tires, which generally improves their grip while decreasing the grip at the rear of the car. You want to adjust the proportion of the braking forces between front and rear, i.e. the brake bias, in order to maximize the overall braking efficiency of the vehicle. Now, this indicates the relative amount of brake pressure applied from the master cylinder to the front brakes. Once again, now the front brake bias is shown as a percentage in the iRacing menu. This makes for an easy way to remember what you're adjusting when it comes to that. It's the front brake bias. Therefore, the higher percentage means more force to the front of the car. Now, increasing the front bias will stabilize the car in a braking zone and increase understeer at corner entry. The compromise is that too much front bias and the rear tires are being underutilized and overall braking efficiency will suffer. Now, this can result in rapid front tire wear due to front tire lockup, especially on the inside tire, which is the first to typically lock up. Now, decreasing the front bias, i.e. more rear braking power, this improves braking efficiency. However, too much rear brake bias, though, and this is going to hurt your performance in a couple of ways. One, it reduces overall braking efficiency. Too much rear brake bias, particularly if the driver is not braking in a straight line or has weak footwork on downshifts. And this can cause the rear tires to lock up, which puts the car in a dynamically unstable condition that easily results in loss of vehicle control, i.e. a spin. Now note that with a moderate amount of rear brake bias, the car will have a tendency to rotate or oversteer at corner entry with the brake release. The ideal brake bias is one that locks both the front and rear brakes at the same time. In practice, however, locking the rear tires typically results in a rapid spin, and locking all 4 tires results in a slower spin, especially if the car is trail braking. So what you really want to focus on is the front tires should lock up just before the rear. Now, focus attention to what happens during the braking phase and corner entry. Sudden spins in this zone often indicate rear brake lockup, while a bad push can indicate front brake lockup. Again, a lot of this is driver preference when it comes to the feel of the car. So for example, though, let's say you need the car to dive into the corner a little harder on an oval track. Now you can move the brake bias toward the front, i.e. a higher percentage, and the car will nose down or grip a little harder into that turn toward the front because the weight is moving forward. Now, this is a little tricky when it comes to feel, as moving this around can really shift the weight of the car when the brake is applied, and also how much brake is applied. But you need to experiment until you find what works for you. Using the front brake bias to your advantage, depending on your driving style, can pay huge dividends. This can allow you to brake a little later, brake a little longer. Whatever it is that your driving style needs, that front brake bias is really your friend. Just keep in mind, forward brake bias is typically higher than 50% for most of the cars with equal sized tires. Now, if you're using a formula car that has larger rear tires, the brake bias setting is usually less than 50%. And this is due to the tremendous amount of mass that's rotating with the rear tires and the smaller tires up front. There is really no right or wrong when it comes to brake bias setting, but adjustments can be very driver specific. So use what's right for you at the right track, with the right car. This is not something you're going to dial in one time and fire and forget. You're going to need to adjust this for each track. So keep notes, see what works best for you. Happy racing, avoid the clowns, and maybe I'll see you on the track. If this video helped you, hit the like button below. It's greatly appreciated. If you'd like to see additional content and topics like these covered in Surviving the First Lap, hit the subscribe button and be sure to click the little bell icon. That way you're notified anytime I upload new content or when I'm live streaming. You can check out the YouTube page or my website to view my streaming schedule or find additional content. Until next time, see you on the track.